Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm so excited that you're here. Today I'll be focusing on the Instant Ace Plus multi-use cooking and beverage blender. But before I do so, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to like and subscribe. I actually ordered my Instant Ace Plus multi-use blender from Macy's, but you can also get it at your local Walmart. So I'm super excited to use this because it can do so much. I previously just had a regular blender that only had a couple of settings, and I've literally been using it for the last 7 years, so I felt it was time to upgrade. I just wanted to walk you through what this blender is capable of doing so that you can get the full experience. So as I'm unpacking this blender, I just want to go over a few quick things that can really showcase what you can do with this. So you can actually make smoothies, puree, frozen desserts, soy, rice, nut, or oat milks. You can make soup, and it's all just as easy as pressing the button. You can even make soy beverages and even butters. And not only can you create these cool, unique beverages, you can also prepare some hot soups, puree vegetables, and even baby food. And you can do this all in this picture that you see here. First things first, always clean your blender. But I wanted to show you some of the cool things about the lid. So this actually has a lock option so that the lid is more secure. You'll notice it here. Once you turn the lid, you'll hear it snap open, and then you'll also see at the top there's another part to lock it and make sure that nothing goes flying out of your blender, because that's happened to me before and it's the worst. So in order to clean the blender, I added some water and a little bit of soap. Once you secure the lid, plug in the blender, and you'll notice there is a feature that says clean. The really cool thing about this blender is everything on the front panel is digital, which is super cool. You don't have to worry about any bulky buttons. So here you'll notice I pressed clean and a 48-second timer appeared. Once I selected the button again, the blender did its thing, and it counted down, and it had various speeds as the blender was going to make sure that it's thoroughly cleaned. This is super cool because I've never been able to do this in any other blender that I've owned before. The cool thing about this is once the time runs out, the blender automatically shuts off. And this is super cool because you know that the blender is clean and it's ready for use again. So I definitely recommend using the cleaning feature before and after you use the blender. Within the control panel, you'll see that there are so many different settings. You can make the nut butter, crushed ice, a smoothie, nut or oat milk. You are able to change the speed, the temperature, the time, soups, puree, soy milk, and rice milk. And then you saw the clean button that I used previously. So this is really exciting and I cannot wait to use it. For those of you who are interested in the specs, this blender has 8 smart built-in programs, 3 manual blending speeds, 4 cold blending programs, 4 hot blending programs, and the pitcher is a premium quality 60-ounce glass pitcher, which includes a concealed heating element and the 8 machine ground stainless steel blades. Some of the accessories include a measuring cup, cleaning brush with bristles, and a food-safe strainer bag with the drawstring. Now here you'll see I opened up the manual to take a look, but to be honest, I did not read this thing. I do not have time, and they actually make it pretty easy and simple to use. Alright, so let's just be honest, this is where the fun starts. I'm going to do my first recipe using the blender, so it's just a simple hummus recipe that you can use for lunch, dinner, snack, party, whatever. But here it goes. So you're going to take a can of chickpeas, which are garbanzo beans. Raise your hand if you had no idea that chickpeas are garbanzo beans, because I just found that out like a year ago and it changed my life. So make sure you drain the chickpeas and then dump them into the blender. I reserved a couple on the side just for garnish that you'll see later on in the recipe. Next, you're going to add tahini, which is essentially just crushed ground sesame seeds. So here I'm going to add a half a cup to the blender. Now go ahead and make sure you scrape out all of that tahini because this stuff is expensive. I think for that jar, I think I paid maybe $6 or $7. So just use all of it. So next you're going to add the garlic. I decided to chop up 2 cloves of garlic for the hummus. Now if you want more garlic, go ahead, do you boo-boo. If you want to chop it or if you want to buy it already minced, whatever works for you. One thing about me, I love me some EVOO. And for those of you who don't know what that stands for, extra virgin olive oil. I put that on everything. So here I added about a half a cup, or no, actually I think that was a third of a cup. Just add as much oil as you want. Obviously not too much, but I would say a third of a cup. Then you're going to squeeze some fresh lemon. This is about half of a lemon, but you don't see it here. I ended up doing the whole lemon because it just tastes so much better that way. But you can add as much as you'd like depending on your taste preference. Now the liquid that you see here was actually reserved from the original can of chickpeas that I opened. I like to add this as necessary. Now you can't have hummus without a little flavor. So I added a little ground cumin to add that extra little punch. A little sea salt action is always necessary. So I like to put enough in there just to add a little bit of flavor, but you can put as much as you want, as much as you desire, but I'm not trying to give anybody any high blood pressure or trigger any other issues, so just put a little bit. Now this next ingredient you don't have to put if you don't like spicy, but I personally do like a little kick, so I added some crushed red pepper. Alrighty, so now we're gonna seal this thing up and make sure you lock it, get it on right and tight, and then you're gonna go ahead and start the blending. Alright, so now we're gonna blend and watch this thing become hummus. I like to pause it and take a look to make sure everything is going as planned. Now I gotta unlock the top. And you see some of the chickpeas aren't quite blended. So we're gonna close it up and we're going to keep pulsing. Okay, time to check it again. You see that it still has more of a chalky texture. It's time to add a little bit of that water liquid that we had reserved from the original can, and this will make it a little bit creamier because I like my hummus to have a creamy texture. Now let's take a look and see what we're working with. Okay, not too bad, looking good, looking good. So let's take the spoon, give it a little stir, do a little texture check. I like it, I'm liking what I'm seeing. But I think I'm gonna give it one more blend so that I can just make sure that it's just right. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, honey, yes. Now this is what you call hummus. Look at that. Look at that texture. Ooh, I cannot wait to taste. Now that it's done, we are going to transfer the hummus into a container of your choice. So I put it in this so that I can take it to work with me to snack on and enjoy it throughout the day. Now, like I said before, we got to make sure we scrape all of this hummus out because I'm not trying to waste any of this. Now go ahead and give it a good stir, and then we're gonna add my favorite ingredient, a little EVOO for garnish. Give it a little swirl there. Then we're going to add some of those reserved chickpeas that I said that I put aside. And then to top it off, I like to add some paprika. And this just makes it look good. It doesn't really add a ton of extra flavor, but I like the presentation. And for me, you already know I'm going to add those crushed red peppers. Now look at that. Got yourself a nice little container of some homemade hummus. It doesn't get any better than this, guys. Simple recipe, super delicious. Everyone will love it. There's nothing wrong with store-bought hummus, but when you make it yourself, there's so much more purpose and you know exactly what you're putting in your body.